Today's topic: depression is a luxury.
We got this from this clip that we'll play, and it's 50 Cent talking about how depression is a luxury.
I think the things you go through make you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And in my journey, like there's certain things that I'm not really, I don't even let it into my system like that. I think depression is a luxury.
Wow.
Because where I'm from, you can't afford to be depressed. You got to pay the bill, right?
Right.
So you got to go to work. You got to get up. You got to go do what you got to do. You got people right now that's at work that don't feel like being there.
Mm-hmm.
But they got responsibilities, so
Yes,
they go.
sir.
They feel uncomfortable while they're working, while they're doing what they got to do. Like, when these guys get in a slump and they just decide that they're not going to do anything, I'm like, where they do that at?
Right.
Even when you're on the street, you got a pack. You just decide not to come outside?
Yeah.
They're going to beat you up. You're going to beat to death. Wait till you come out.
So before we get into the episode, just as from a definition standpoint, depression is a condition of general emotion, dejection, and withdrawal. Sadness greater and more prolonged than warranted by any objective reason. A low state of vital powers of functional activity. So, and just from some stats, approximately 9.5% of the U.S. population, which is almost 16.6 American adult ages 18 and over, will suffer from depression, illness, major depression, bipolar disorder. Each year, women are nearly twice as likely to suffer from major depression than men. However, men and women are equally likely to develop bipolar disorder. So, yeah, so it's alarming statistics, you know what I'm saying? And I think that episode on Big Boy's station with Fifth, he was saying depression is a luxury because there's a population of people that he feels don't have the luxury to be depressed, right? They have to still keep going forward because they don't have any other choice. So that's today's topic, right? Is depression a luxury?
So hearing the initially, like when I just said today's topic, depression is a luxury, I'm pretty sure we got a couple side eyes and heads turning, because like when I heard it, I'm like low key, I don't want to say offended, but like it's bothersome to me. Like, what the fuck you mean it's a luxury? Like, you know what I'm saying? But in that context, I mean, it does make sense, but even for those who have to keep going, ain't nothing luxurious about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, having to push through depression is terrible, bro. And obviously, you guys know it comes from very, very, very personal reasonings for me, but in the middle of it, I think for those of us, I didn't know them, but for those of us who are aware we're going through, I mean. So, real quick, do you think most people in the middle of a depression can identify that they're going through that depression?
I just got out of one, and I could tell you firsthand I didn't know I was in one until I got out.
Right. So, in my case, with something being so traumatic and so sudden, you know what I'm saying? Even with that, I still didn't identify it as depression in the moment. And for those who, I mean, if you're watching the podcast, you know, for those who don't, in 2009, my younger brother was murdered, and it was by far the most difficult situation I ever had to go through. And 2.5 years later, I'm coming out on top of it, and I'm looking back at it thinking that it was just normal. It's supposed to happen. This is what happened when your brother gets murdered. You're supposed to be sad. You're supposed to feel this way. But it was actually a 2.5 year depression that I was in. And it took the birth of my daughter and creating my play to kind of get me out of the funk. I wrote it out, and just, you know, knowing that I have something else to live for was kind of like what catapulted me out of the depression. But so when you label it as a luxury, it's kind of like there wasn't nothing luxurious about that 2.5 years, bro. Like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like from all, I mean, in all aspects, from work to relationship to family to just all of it, everything just felt like it was just like here. There was no up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't, and again, Fifth smart, right? So he says things to provoke conversation. And here's my take, right? Like, I don't believe depression is a luxury, period. I do believe it's a luxury to be able to address it medically, right? And here's why I say that. in the black community, it's been proven that depression lasts longer, right?
Really?
It's been proven, right? I got it from what's this? Addiction, traumatic stress disorder. No, sorry. Where'd I get it from? I got it from Medical News Today.
Is that like a socioeconomic thing where we just don't like?
So here, I'll read it. It says, most studies find that when black people do develop depression, the condition lasts longer. They may also be more likely to have co-occurring diagnoses, such as addiction, post-traumatic stress disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. Racism and stigma within the medical or mental health profession may intensify the effects of depression. Doctors and other care providers provide lower rates of treatment for black people with depression than their white peers, right? So that as a natural construct puts us behind the 8 ball. So that's where my opinion, that's where Fifth was coming from with that comment, where depression is a luxury. Here's why I say that, right? Chief, if you came from a well-educated, well-off family, right, that had the resources to identify these things and to treat these things in real time, you would have gotten that treated in real time, as opposed to you having to basically thug it out.